You already picked the age, 62, 65, maybe 67, whichever round number sounded official enough. Tyler picked his, the same way last week, announcing over dinner that he is retiring the day his lease ends, purely because the date looked clean on a calendar. Nobody ever asks the harder question. Here it is. The exact month you walk out can quietly hand thousands back to your old employer, to Medicare, and to the tax office. Marcus calls this the exit window, and almost nobody plans it on purpose. Stay with him, because by the end of this, you will know which month protects you. If that made you glance at your own calendar a little differently, that reaction is exactly the point, and it means you are exactly who this channel is built for. Marcus has walked through more of these calendars than he can count, and the pattern is always the same. People treat the retirement date like a birthday, not like a financial decision. Today, he is going to walk you through the 5 moving pieces that decide whether your exit window works for you or quietly works against you, and he is going to name each one so you can check it against your own plan before you lock in a date. Before anything else, understand this. None of these 5 levers involve the stock market. You cannot control what the market does the week you leave your job, and chasing that control will only make you anxious. What you can control sits much closer to home, on your own kitchen table, in your own paperwork. That is where Marcus wants your attention today. Reason 1 is the one almost nobody checks before they give notice, and it is sitting inside your own employer's plan documents. Most workplace retirement plans only pay out the full year of matching money if you are still on payroll on a specific date, usually the last day of the plan year, or after working a minimum stretch of hours. It is called a true-up, and it rewards only the people who stayed the whole way. Picture Margaret, a retired teacher Marcus has used before, standing in her kitchen with a resignation letter half-written. Then a single line in her benefits handbook stopped her cold. Her district's match would not fully land until she crossed into the new year on payroll. She waited 11 weeks. 11 weeks bought her thousands of dollars in matching money that was already hers on paper, but not yet hers in practice. If you have not subscribed yet, this is a good moment, because Marcus walks a version of this exact math almost every single week, and you will not want to miss where this goes next. Then there is the payout most people actually look forward to, the lump sum for unused vacation and sick time. It feels like a bonus. It is taxed like ordinary income, stacked directly on top of whatever salary you already earned that year. Leave in the final weeks of a high-earning year, and that payout gets taxed at the top of your bracket. Leave at the start of a lean year instead, and the same exact dollars land far more gently. Same paycheck, completely different outcome, and the only thing that changed is which side of the calendar it landed on. That is the kind of quiet difference Marcus builds this whole channel around. The gap between what looks identical on paper and what actually lands in your account. So before you set a date, there is one phone call worth making. Ask your own employer 3 things. When does your match fully vest? How is unused time paid out? And is there any bonus or stock award sitting just on the other side of the new year? 1 call, 3 answers, and you already know more than most people who retire this year. If this kind of thing is useful to you, go ahead and subscribe now, because Marcus walks through a version of this math almost every week, and you will want the next one too. Somewhere in the middle of all this, Tyler had already given his notice, lease ending, calendar looking clean, no phone call made to anyone in his benefits office. Marcus is not telling you this to make Tyler the villain of the story. He is telling you because Tyler is exactly how most people retire, on a date that feels right instead of a date that is right. And the difference between those 2 things is the entire subject of this video. Reason 2 is the lever that quietly controls almost everything else on this list, and Marcus calls it the exit window itself, because it decides which side of a calendar year your income falls on. Retire at the very start of a year instead of the very end, and something valuable happens without you doing anything else. That first stretch becomes a low-income year, maybe some interest, maybe a little dividend money, nothing close to a full salary. A low-income year is not a loss, it is an opening. It is the window where moving money from a traditional retirement account into a Roth account costs far less in tax, because you are sitting in a lower bracket than you will ever sit in again. It is also the window where selling investments that have grown for years can trigger little to no tax at all, simply because your overall income is low enough that year. None of that works if your final paycheck, your bonus, and your vacation payout are all still landing in that same calendar year. This is also the front door to something bigger, the stretch of years after the paycheck stops but before Social Security and forced withdrawals begin. Marcus calls those years the quiet stretch. Waste it by retiring on a random date, and you hand back a tool that never comes around again. So ask yourself honestly, do you actually know your real monthly number? The true cost of your life once the paycheck stops, not a rough guess. The number Marcus keeps circling back to, because everything else on this list only works if you know it. Reason 3 moves into the part that trips up more people than any tax bracket ever will: health coverage. Your employer plan almost always ends on the final day of your final month. If whatever comes next, Medicare, a marketplace plan, or a spouse's plan, does not start the very next day, you have created a gap, and a gap in coverage at this stage of life is not a small inconvenience. Here is the second piece almost nobody sees coming: the deductible reset. Say you had a rough medical year, you already met your full deductible by autumn. Walk away now and switch plans, and the new plan resets that deductible straight back to nothing. You end up paying the same costs twice inside 12 months. If your year has already been expensive on the medical side, finishing it out on your current plan and switching fresh in the new year can quietly save real money. And there is a newer wrinkle worth knowing if you plan to retire before you qualify for Medicare and lean on marketplace coverage in the meantime. Extra help that once made that coverage more affordable for a wide range of incomes has been pulled back, so income limits matter again in a way they did not for a while. Cross a certain income line for the year, even slightly, and you can lose the subsidy on your premium entirely, sometimes doubling what you pay for the exact same plan. Which means the income you report the year you retire does not just set your tax bill, it can set your health insurance bill too. And those two numbers are far more connected than most people ever realize. Marcus keeps a simple retirement budget worksheet linked below this video, the same one he points people toward whenever this exact conversation comes up, because none of these 5 levers mean anything until you actually know your real number. Reason 4 is where 2 separate traps show up right around the same age, and Marcus wants you to hear both, because most people only ever hear about one. The first hides inside a health savings account. If you are still working past the usual Medicare age with a high deductible plan and contributing to that account, know this: Medicare coverage can reach backward and apply itself for several months before your actual enrollment date. Once that happens, your legal room to contribute to that account for those same months disappears retroactively, and any money you already put in becomes an excess contribution. Taxed every single year, it sits there uncorrected. The fix is simple once you know it. Stop contributing to that account a good stretch of months before you plan to enroll in Medicare, not the week you finally sign up. The second trap is the one Marcus wants you to really sit with, because it reaches further than people expect. Medicare does not look at your income from this year to set your premium. It looks back 2 full years. So a single expensive year, salary plus bonus plus vacation payout all stacked together, can quietly raise your Medicare premium 2 years down the road, sometimes by a meaningful amount, and if both spouses are on Medicare, that surcharge applies twice. Here is something that quietly rewrites everything Marcus has told you so far, and it is worth pausing on. The clean answer up to this point has been simple: retire right at the start of a year and keep every income year lean. But picture James, a retired engineer Marcus often uses as an example, who had already met a heavy medical deductible by late in his final working year, after a difficult stretch of appointments. For James, walking away in December and starting a brand new plan in January would have meant paying that same heavy cost twice. Finishing out the year on his existing coverage, medical bills already absorbed, and starting fresh only after the calendar turned, saved him more than a clean January exit ever would have. The lesson underneath both stories is the same. There is no single month that is always right. There is only the month that lines up with your actual paperwork. And that is the entire point of walking through these 5 levers, instead of picking a date off a birthday. If any of this is landing differently than you expected, that is worth sharing with someone close to you who is getting near this decision themselves, because most people are about to make it without ever hearing any of this. Reason 5 closes the loop with Social Security and the required withdrawals that eventually follow it, because timing touches both. Claim Social Security a few months earlier or later than your full retirement age, and your very first year of income shifts, along with how much of that benefit ends up taxable. Years later, required withdrawals from retirement accounts begin on a schedule tied to your birth year, and there is a lesser-known wrinkle worth knowing. You are allowed to delay your very first required withdrawal into the spring of the following year. That sounds generous until you realize it forces 2 withdrawals into that one calendar year instead of one, doubling your reported income and potentially pushing you straight into that same Medicare surcharge from Reason 4. Even years after you retire, the timing decision keeps following you, quietly, the same way it followed Margaret, and the same way it eventually caught up with Tyler. Tyler, as it turned out, did retire the week his lease ended. He found out about his forfeited match money 3 months later, in a letter he almost did not open. Marcus is not telling you that story to make you feel superior to Tyler. He is telling you because Tyler is decent with money in every other way, careful, disciplined, generally sharp, and he still lost thousands of dollars to a single date on a calendar app. That is how quiet this mistake really is. It does not announce itself, it just shows up later, in a letter, or a smaller paycheck, or a premium that is somehow higher than it used to be. So here is the simple version, because 5 reasons is a lot to hold at once. For most people, retiring right at the start of a year is the cleanest move. It creates a lean income year you can actually shape, softens the tax bite on any vacation payout, and opens the quiet stretch for smart account moves. But if you already met a heavy deductible this year, finishing the year out can beat a clean January exit. If a bonus or vesting date sits just on the other side of the new year, wait for it. If your match fully vests at year end, do not walk out a day early. The right month is whichever month lines up your own paperwork, not whichever month sounds round. Here is what Marcus wants you to actually do this week, and it fits on one small note card if you write it down. Make 1 call to your own employer and get 3 answers. When your match fully vests, how your unused time is paid out, and whether anything valuable vests just after the new year begins. Pull your 2 most recent tax returns, because one of them, quietly and without asking your permission, is already setting your future Medicare premium. And finally, sit down and find your real monthly number, the one this whole video keeps circling back to, the one the worksheet linked below this video is built to help you find. Marcus wants to be clear with you the way he always is. Everything in this video is for education, meant to help you ask sharper questions before you sit down with your own numbers. It is not financial, tax, or legal advice, and your own situation deserves a real conversation with a qualified professional before you lock anything in. But carry this one thing with you: you cannot control the market, and trying to will only wear you out. You can absolutely control the month you walk out the door, and that single choice quietly touches your taxes, your health coverage, your Medicare premium, and your Social Security, all at once. Do not let a random date on a calendar make a decision this large for you. Choose it on purpose. Take the exit window you were handed today, make the 1 phone call, pull the 2 tax returns, and find your real number. Do that, and you will walk out on a date that actually protects you. Marcus will see you in the next one.